Good Sunday noontime to you. This is going to be a little different video than what I usually make. It's not going to be a long-winded video. It will be in one respect, and it will not be in another. It's going to be a show and tell on the kind of like the history of the character that I designed and built called My Uncle Dorkel. Now, in the beginning, I had a video series called Building Uncle Dorkel. It was a 24-part series. If you look back on my videos, you will find them. They're done in low resolution, 640 by 480, because that's what I had for a camera at the time. It was a Samsung SL105 point-and-shoot camera that I used to use all the time in my attic workshop when I had a shop up there. Anyways, Uncle Dorkel was a creation made right here in the cranium of the old 64 goat. Uncle Dorkel has come a long way and had a lot of changes. I have here on the bench right now the remote control that I built thanks to one of my viewers, Steve O, who sent me this heavy-duty box. Now, I made a video of this a few years ago. It's been at least 2 years since I did anything with this. This is the remote control. If you watched the last video, as a matter of fact, it's the only comedy video I did recently, of Uncle Dorkel and myself sitting on the swing set. This is the remote control. This is heavy cabling. As I recall, it's 12 or 16, maybe even 20 conductors in here. It's very awkward, very heavy to deal with. I'm going to, not necessarily today, but this is in the shop now that I got a workshop. When I built Uncle Dorkel, I did not have a workshop. I built everything outside on the work table out there on a nice day when the weather was good. So this here and Uncle Dorkel was made way before I ever had this workshop. So now that I got this workshop, I can do more work in here. And what I want to do, not today, is I want to add a jack on here to charge up the 6-volt battery that you see in here. You may or may not be able to see that. Okay, that battery is the D.I.Y battery. I had a brain fart. His eyes were not moving simply because the battery was disconnected in here. It needed to be charged anyways, and that's why his eyes were not moving. But they're not moving correctly anyways. So as the skit went along, to keep with the storyline of Uncle Dorkel, and if you've been following, there's some dedicated viewers that have been following My Uncle Dorkel, which was the skit title, not Building Uncle Dorkel, which was a different series, but My Uncle Dorkel and all the shenanigans that go on with the skits. We try to keep the storyline going. And the storyline is, he is at this time, 118 years old, born in 1900. We kind of remember the sequence of in the events that happen. And those of you who have followed along will understand that. Originally, Uncle Dorkel was mechanically operated by a 1.5-inch PVC pipe that went up to the neck. And it was controlled in the back, which was open. It still is open now. Shirt covers it, and I was able to turn the head, and it was actually much better than the motorized version that I have now. In the beginning, the mouth trigger was operated by my index finger, and to tell you the truth, my index finger was getting mighty tired of pulling the trigger down. If you look back on the earlier videos, one of them was Uncle Dorkel's Christmas special. You'll notice that his neck was real skinny, his head turned much faster, and he had that comic look as I shook the stick inside and made his head wobble back and forth. The later versions, he was motorized, and he was motorized with a car window, a door window motor, which was needed because it was geared down and it was able to turn the head, which is quite difficult to turn because there was no roller bearings when I built that. It was just cardboard and particle board like this, and it was greased, and it was not designed right, so the head binds trying to turn one direction. Now, I know I'm talking a lot here. I'm also recording this at WVGA, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the video clips, the little pieces that I'm going to be showing you, are recorded at 640 by 480 low resolution. So there's no point in starting this video off in HD and then jump into low resolution. So for the editing reasons, let's just keep things a little simpler. So I was looking back on those videos, and that quality of those videos were pretty poor. But, you know, things do improve as time goes on, and that's the same with Uncle Dorkel. So, not today, but there will be some more work done on this, and I am going to show you now in here, for those of you who have not seen the inside of the remote control, which is humongous. We have 23 contacts on this Canon plug. I call them Canon plugs. I don't really know. I did know what they were called. 23, and this locator pin makes 24. The locator pin, if I'm not mistaken, is a common ground. And in here, I have a 6-volt gel cell. This is quite old. I just got through charging it. Now, in the beginning, Uncle Dorkel had a much lighter weight and smaller remote, which was designed at my request by a fellow that's no longer around, John from the UK. He used to have a channel called The Solder Shack. He's no longer around. I have no way of getting a hold of him anymore, and he designed a remote control. I'm not going to get into that because I don't have that remote control. I got rid of it because it's really tiny. I had problems with the switches. It worked very well, and it contained miniature relays. With my poor eyesight, I could not service it, so I scrapped that idea and designed my own circuit on a scale that I can see to work with. So there are extra wires in here that are not being used yet. We have here on the front, it's a big clumsy box. We have here a center spring loaded, so it returns back to center position. double pole, double throw toggle switch. Head turns left, head turns right. This is the mouth trigger. This, as I said, is the head, and this here is the eyes. The eyes, you will see on earlier photos that I have taken, in addition to some videos, the back of the inside of the head. The head motor, the eye motor, I'm sorry, I got off of eBay, and I'm going to say 2012 or 2013 is when I started building Uncle Dorkel. I don't have the exact dates, but I do know it was either 2012 or 2013 when I decided to build Uncle Dorkel. So there's plenty of room in this box for other things. But as you can see with this cabling, it is extremely bulky, very, very stiff, and hard to work with. What I would like to do, but I don't have the brains to design a wireless remote. It would have to be a physically large box if I'm going to actually build it. If it's already built, fine. Now, Uncle Dorkel is put in the shed. I can't show you that, but I might be able to come up with some photos of the inside of Uncle Dorkel. Uncle Dorkel's head motor is controlled now by relays, wired in such a way that you throw this switch here to the left position, it operates a set of relays turning the head motor in reverse direction. It's a motor reversing circuit. In the central position, which is naturally off because it's spring-loaded, it returns to the central position. No current flow. Turn it to the other way, it reverses the direction of the motor. So this here is a reversing motor switch, as well as turning the head on and off. In the original design, designed by John from the UK, like I say, he's no longer around, there was a safety shutoff so that you could not hold the switch down. Now, there wasn't no switches at that time. There was a small push button, as I recall. No, two push buttons, left head, right head, okay? The remote was very small, and everything was self-contained in that remote. And there was a control box in the back of the Uncle Dorkel body. Instead of that control box now, I have a relay panel with 4 relays in it, which is solely responsible for controlling the head. In addition to that, the eye motor, as I started to say, is a 6-volt motor that only runs the eyes. I'm not a very good artist, but as you look at the back, and if I can locate a good photograph, I'm having a hard time because when my computer crashed there and I had to have the operating system restored, I had lost all those pictures, but I did copy them down on external hard drives, but then I just got to spending over an hour trying to find them, and for some reason they're just not there, but I did locate some of them, and I did locate the 24 videos series on building Uncle Dorkel. But anyways, the eyeballs were made from doll heads. I believe they're 1 inch in diameter. I'm not mistaken. It's been a few years. They have the eyes painted on a decal were put on by my wife because she does ceramics. And the eyeballs were painted white, of course, and then I painted the blue. I mean, I didn't paint the blue. That was a decal that's put on there. And here, now this is not exactly how it is, but it gives you a rough idea of how it is. There's a bar coming out of the back of each eyeball. There's a flat bar stock here. I believe it's 3/8 inch round. It's all aluminum. There's a pivot point here. There's a pivot point here. There's another bar that comes out here. There's a pivot point here. And there's like a crank handle that's coming off the 6-volt motor here. And the motor continuously goes around in one direction. It does not need to reverse. I could have had it, but it would have been very difficult, and I wasn't able to design it so it would go one way and then the other. It still does, but the motor has to keep going, so the eyes are going like this. And then when I let go of the button, the eyes will stop. They could stop here, they could turn left, they could turn right. You know what I mean? Depends on the crank. There's like I just did not draw this right because I'm not a good drawer. But the motor has a crank on it. I didn't show that here, but it has a crank on it. And as it cranks, it turns this assembly here over this way, and then the motor continues going. It goes back to center and goes this way. So, in a sense, the eyes will never go off and out of range because the pivot point won't allow that. But what happened is the connection at the motor is crimped on with vice grips. I had no way of fastening it on there. I couldn't solder it on there. It would destroy the motor bearings trying to heat it up. So I had to crimp it on, and the crank is made out of an 1/8 inch outside diameter copper tubing. So it slips over the motor shaft of the eBay motor that I bought. Chinese special, what else? So that crimp must have loosened up, so his eyes right now moves one side good. It goes to the center and does not move to the other side. The similar problem with the head, but that's a binding problem. So I got a lot of work to do on that. I think I've talked long enough. I'm going to show you some photos now on it and maybe some video clips. The photos, some of them have been taken off as screenshots off of the videos, and they're going to be low res, 640 by 480. And some snapshots are going to be fairly clear because they've been taken with my 12 megapixel camera at the time. So those will be clear. So you're not going to have good clear photos. In the very first video, short segment is going to be when I came up with the brainstorm of building Uncle Dorkel. Now, these are all up on YouTube. Building Uncle Dorkel Part 1, like I say, I believe it's 2012, definitely 2013, no later than that. And his head was built out of a Hawaiian Punch plastic bottle. I went to Stop and Shop and bought a thing of Hawaiian Punch, dumped it on the ground, and cleaned it out, and, well, the rest is history. The top of his head came from a plastic bowl, so it gives him the round top that he has, that you see now, was from the dollar store. A set of plastic bowls, and I used one of them for the top of his head. Enough chatter. Hello there. Today I'm going to be starting what could be a very long, time-consuming project, something I have never done before. What you see in the background is the start of the project. I am using standard definition 640 by 480 using my Samsung SL105. I'll also be using the Samsung SL600. You probably want to know what the project is. I'm going to tell you what it's going to be. Hang on just a minute. What you see here is the head of Uncle Dorkel. Yes, Uncle Dorkel. He's going to be my ventriloquist mannequin dummy. This is going to be for the neck. I had to invest in a properly shaped bottle. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to dump this juice. It's not all that great. Cost me $2.49 for this. And some more masking tape. And what I'm going to do is, this is going to be the neck here. Be turned around the other way and be built up. This will be the form for the head. First thing you want to do is take the label off, of course. Very gently. The bottle is sweating, so we just let it loosen up and we'll just take it right off here. Okay, well, that's a Hawaiian punch. Yeah, okay. So we got ourselves a good bottle here. We couldn't get a bottle in the trash, and I couldn't use a regular milk bottle because it has the handle on it, and there'd be too much work to build it up around it. So what we do is we take off the cap. Once this juice is out of here, we put this down and seal this around. We get rid of all this, of course. That's the method to my madness. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to center this, make sure that this hole here is perfect with the inside hole here. Mark it, drill it, and screw it down with these small screws that I got here. And the mouth is going to go over on this side. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I'll come up with something.